Hi, and welcome to another video where I try and rebuild a Webflow website using Bricks Builder. And today we're going to tackle this tabbed menu. I had a look at this beforehand and figured that probably best to use something like WooCommerce because people are going to want to order them as they add to cart. We could do this using something like advanced custom fields, but the cart functionality and delivering all that would be a problem. I know this isn't a real site, but I figured we may as well go along the right direction to start with. So before starting this video, I installed WooCommerce and added all the details for the products and the different categories that we're going to use. As always, I've dropped in a screenshot so that we can see what we're trying to build here. So let's get started. First of all, we will add a section, go down to that section, and the first thing we're going to need is a heading and some text. So let's add in a heading and some basic text. This heading is going to say, sorry, it's down here, browse our menu, and the text should say that. I've copied that in, and then the next thing we need to do is add a tab element, and we want to use the nestable tabs for this because we're going to add our own content. And the first thing I'm going to do is delete the things that we don't want, and let's add some classes to this. So let's call this tab title, tab title heading, and then on this one, let's break it down. We have rich text. Well, let's just delete that because what we actually need, we are going to need a block to put the whole thing in. So let's add a block, and then that's going to be the grid for that. So then we're going to need two more blocks inside of that. So let's add that in, block. So that's that. That's going to be the, let's call this menu card. This will be the image wrapper, and this will be the content wrapper. Right, so that's going to be that. We're going to need another block inside that one to hold the item and price. So this is going to be right, if we go down, actually there's a product title from WooCommerce, and also there's the product price. So let's scroll down, product price. So that's within that area there, food order. So what we've got is, let's look at the structure now. We have the menu card, we have an image wrapper, which is going to hold that. Let's put an image inside that. Just a normal image. So that's going to go within there. That's a normal image. That's that block, and then underneath that we are going to have some basic text, and then we're going to have an add to cart, and that's actually not within there, that's separate to that on this structure here, and under that we need an add to cart. So let's just do a search for that, an add to cart element. That's a WooCommerce thing there. So that is all of the elements actually now in, I believe, apart from, we'll do that button afterwards. That's the elements for this. Let's start by putting some classes on all of this. Right, we've got the classes for that. That's the tab content. Don't really need a class for that. We'll just do that. Tab pane, just so that we've got that. You can never have enough. Right, so let's call this menu card. Oh, underscore. Oh, no, we don't need it there yet. Let's copy that. This is going to be the make sure you actually press return. Right, let's go to this. This is going to be the menu card underscore image wrapper. Press return. This is going to be the menu underscore image. This is going to be the content wrapper. This here will be the menu card header. So let's put that in. Underscore menu card header. And within that, we're going to have the menu card product title. This one's going to be the menu card product price. This seems all very laborious. Oh, must have moved that around. This will be the menu card description, item description. And this will be the menu card underscore add to cart. Press return. Now we have classes on all of those things. Right, let's have a look. We've got 3 tabs. Browse our menu. Let's go to this one. Oh, hang on a minute. Tabs nestable is not within a container, and neither is any of that. So let's just make sure that is within a container, and so is that. So that's now all within the container, so it will stick to the content width. We want the heading and then the basic text there. Let's go to the container and go to content and go to flex and make sure that's all centered. Let's go to the heading, make that H2, previously styled in one of the other videos, so you can have a look at that and see how we did that. Basically, it's just done in the scene settings. This text here is the basic text and it's already styled and we've got the right text in. We just need to go to typography and make that centered because we want that centered in there. We could do the link later if we get a chance. I'm more concerned with doing the tabs. That's that. Right, in the container, let's just go back to content and add some row gap using the variables that I have previously set up. Let's say we want a space of space L. Right, there shows an issue. That gives that, but too much space in there. So really, what we need to do is wrap that in a block, put that in there, and center that. So therefore we've got more space, but I think space L isn't enough. Let's see if we have something bigger. Section M, no, go to primary. Space XL, 4M, that's better. That's just a bit more space there, which is what we want. Right, this is where we get on with the tabs. Right, so we can see here in the buttons we have an SVG behind the text. They're in the primary color. So let's tackle that. Let's first of all go to the tab menu. The title is going to be burgers. So let's go down to here, click on basic text and put that in. So that's that. We can see it's centered. So let's click on tab menu and let's make that centered. Right, that doesn't seem to be having any effect. Title, no. Let's go back to the tab menu. There. Always a bit confusing when it's flexed, when it's turned around on different ways. It always seems to go the wrong way for me. Right. Always confused on that one. That's basic text there. Let's look at the title. We want it to be... In fact, I think we need to go on to here. As we can see, we have content and title. So the padding wants to be wider on the width. So let's make that space L. Let's do that there as well. Space L, probably more than that actually. So space XL, space XL. Again, I set up these variables previously. And check out one of my other videos. I'll try and link it to at the top just here. So you can see the background color. If we click on raw, we'll be able to select the variable and the color will be my primary color. That's pretty good there. And then we want this SVG icon. So if we click on style and go to background, select the image, which I've already uploaded all the images that I need for this. Can't tell, but that is the image we need. Let's click insert. And it doesn't appear to be there. Let's click insert again. Sorry about this. Oh, no, there it is. The text for the ad. Yep, no, that's in the right place. I'm confusing myself. Easy enough to do. Basic text. Click on, make sure we've got the title there. In fact, is it not in here within the title? I think this is where we need to make the changes. Let's go here. Color is going to be a light color there. And it seems to be that it needs to have slightly larger text. So let's address that. Let's make a font size of 2 rem. Arbitrary number there, but looks a little big. So let's say 1.8. Again, look at that. That looks pretty good, so we know it's that. And then we need to put a border radius on this. So let's look at this. Let's see if we've got a variable for this. I don't think I've set up a radius border. So that's probably a good time to show you how I've actually added these variables. So here are the variables I've added. Let's say we want a radius that we'll use throughout the site. And then let's put a radius of 0.5 m, which is a nice subtle border radius usually. So let's save that. click save, and then go back, and then let's go down to here. Let's look at that. Go down to the variables, and let's put in radius there, and let's link them all up. Yep, that looks pretty good. It still looks a little high and a little wide. So let's go back to the spacing. Let's put that to 15. 15. That looks a lot better. And this variable here is not going to be enough. So let's put a calculation on this. XL times 1.5, close the bracket. Let's copy that and paste that into there. In fact, let's put that down to, and it's way too much. So let's put that back at 1.5, 15, sorry. The 1.5 is just a little too much, so let's do 1.3. 1.3. Yep, I'm happy with that for now. So let's click save. Sorry for flicking around. That looks like the button is sorted. Right, so let's look how we're going to do this. We have an image, and then we have the content here. So let's go down to the tab content, click on the pane, and we have the menu card. We have the image wrapper, and we have the image. So let's click on that. Let's select the dynamic data. No, we actually need to loop this so we can tell it what dynamic data we want to loop. So let's click on the menu card. Let's use query loop. So let's go into the query. We want to click posts and then products, and go down here, and we want the burgers. So terms to include, terms include burgers. Right, that's the products. Terms exclude. I don't know why it wasn't showing up. Maybe that save helped it. Burgers products, that's there. So let's scroll down. That's now showing all of the burgers because we have the product title and the product price, and the other information that's going to go there has automatically been put in because of the items from WooCommerce that we've already added. So let's go on to image. Let's select the dynamic data there and say we want the featured image. So that will now start showing through all of that data. Product title, product price is there. The basic text, let's get rid of that data, and we want to put in the product description. So that will be the product short description there, which is just lorem ipsum anyway, I believe. Yes. Excuse me. Right, so that's that. But first of all, let's look at the layout of this. So what we need to do is go to the menu card, and we want to display this as a grid. So let's go to display grid. We will need a grid gap of, let's put our grid gap in there. We're on menu card, grid gap, template column rows. Let's do 1 FR, 3 FR. In fact, on the pane, what we need to do first is make that a grid. So let's display that as grid. Let's look down, and we need it to be a 2-column grid on the pane. So again, a grid gap, and this one can be repeat, 2, min max, 2,1FR, I believe. Sorry, 2. Min-max 0. Oh, I always do that. That's there. And repeat 2, min-max 0, 1FR. Yeah, that should work. Why is that not working? Repeat 2, min-max 0, 1FR. No, that's right. 2, let's forget that. For now, 1FR, 1FR. I think I see what's wrong here. Let's take all this off. Let's wrap the menu card in a block and call this tab menu grid. Let's make that display grid with a grid gap, and then repeat 2, min max 0, 1FR. FR 1FR. Well, that's working. So we'll just leave it like that for now. I have no idea why that wasn't working. Let me just put that back in. Repeat 2, min max. Oh, sorry. Always check for typos. It was a dot instead of a comma. My mistake. I really do apologise for that. Right, so at least we're getting somewhere. Alright, so let's take a quick look at this. On these two, we need them together, so display flex and across, and then we want it to be space between, yep, and centered, so yep, centered on there. Then that text there needs to be, that's a H1, that shouldn't be right, so let's change that to an H3. And we'll set the typography to be 2rem, which actually looks pretty good. And we'll set the font weight to be 700. Let's make that 800. Yep. And then the price is going to be a little larger. So let's select that, make sure that the class is selected. Font size, let's make that 1.8 rem. And make the color our primary color, so let's select that there, and let's change the font weight on this one too to be 800 so we can see the price. That is looking pretty good. Okay, the text font, that should be fine. add to cart. Let's see if there are settings on here. Variation stock quantity button. The button wants to say add to cart. We will want a radius around that of our radius that we set up. So let's look through that. 0.5 and link it all. So that's that. The background color wants to be our primary color. So again, we'll click on raw, go to our variable. Obviously we do it this way so that we can change the variable color at any time we wish. So that's there. I don't know why it's not showing the quantity, but this is the add to cart button. So I'm assuming that it's probably something to do with my WooCommerce setup. Again, not really important right now. It's more the styling than anything that we want to get sorted here, really. So, right, let's look at this. I think we want to space these out a little bit more. So within the content wrapper, we will go to a row gap, and let's go to a row gap of space 2M. That seems too much. Have I got another smaller one? I haven't. So let's put a calculation on this. We'll divide that by 2. That looks pretty good to me. And then we'll center the whole content. Ooh, no. On the content wrapper, we want to center the content there. That looks pretty good. On the burger image, the product image, let's go back to that. We want to have an object for it to cover. And on the image wrapper, we want to add a border radius, making sure that's there. Let's go to border, go down to border, select the radius that we've already set up on that, and then let's link it in. That's looking pretty good, but you can't see it because we need to go to layout, and we need a little overflow, and we need to go to overflow hidden. There, we've got a nice rounded corners on the images there. I think everything else is looking pretty good. Right, what we can see here is there's actually a background image on this section, and then this is a white cards. So let's put the background on the section first. So let's go to the whole section. Let's select an image, which is an SVG that I have previously uploaded here. So that's in there. That looks pretty good. Now let's tackle the white backgrounds and a bit of spacing actually between the tabs and the actual items. So let's look at the tabs nestable. Let's look at layout, margin of, let's say, space XL. No, that's not right. It's not that, it's a tabs nestable layout. Padding, sizing, positioning. Let's tackle this first. Tab content, pane. We want no border. So let's go to the content. There is a border, and let's take that off. Yep, that's disappeared. Sorry, it has to refresh every time I make a change by the looks of this, which is a bit painful. Come on now, you can do it. There we go. So tab content is here. That's the pane. We don't want that. The block is that, and the menu card is that part there. So that's the part that we will add some padding to and a background. So let's make sure we're on the text. So let's go to padding and let's add space M on all of that. Let's add a background of that. In fact, I think it's pure white. Yep, and I think we also need the border radius. So we have the border radius already set up. So let's go to the variable, go down to the border radius and link that. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Probably a little more space. Yep, so instead of space M, let's make it space L all the way around. Yep, that's looking pretty good there. Not bad at all. Right, the next thing we need to do is there's a slight border around the menu card. So let's go on to that. Let's look at border. Go to border. We want a border of 1 all the way around. It's going to be a solid, and the color will be a really light grey, which I have set one up as in one of my colors as a neutral light. Yep, as we can see, a very faint border around that. So that is now looking pretty close, actually. I think that's pretty close. So now what we would need to do is let's get the other information in and then we'll work on the tabs. So that's tab menu. Let's duplicate that 2 times. No, we don't tab the menu 2 times. We actually duplicate this 2 times. Yeah. And then we will duplicate the pane 2 times. Let's make it a little easier by, can we just stop that viewing? No, so let's just delete that now. We've pretty much got the bones of this. Right, so on this title, we need it to say sides. And this one, we need it to say drinks. I believe I remember. Right. So that's not right there. We need the text. So let's go back to the tabs nested ball, and on the title, the typography we have as white is not right. We want that to be the grey colour. It's the active typography that we want to be white, or the light colour. Let's make it totally white. That's much better. And on the title, the border is, let's go back to the nestable title, border. We will make that 1 all the way around, solid, and the color will be the same as the other borders. So let's go to raw, my variable of neutral light, faint border there, And then we need a radius on that, of our radius. There's a radius. Let's link all the sides in. And then we need space between them. So let's go to tab menu and let's put a column gap in of 3 rem. Let's make that XL 4 rem. That border needs to be a little darker actually, so let's go back to title. Go to style. No, tab nestable. This is where it makes it a bit awkward to do. This is in the title, the border, the colour, there. And then the active border wants to be the same colour as the background, so it doesn't show. So let's click on raw, go to the variables, select the colour, let's click save. Now we have the 3 tabs at the top. That's the first tab. Let's call these burgers. Let's call these sides. And let's call these drinks. Now to change that, all we need to do is go to the menu card here, go to the query loop, and take off burgers, and let's put sides. Side product category. Let's go to drinks, do the same here, go to menu card, go to the query loop. Let's get rid of burgers and we need drinks. That should be okay there. Let's do a quick save and let's check it on the front end. Right, I think we actually have to view it on the front end because it just won't. Oh, no, it does, it works. That's pretty good. So that's the tab working. I think that works pretty well, actually. So we've just got the button at the bottom, and then we'll need to look at how we're going to make this a bit more responsive. So let's go back to the builder. And let's tackle the button at the bottom first. So let's close the tabs nestable, and in the container we need to add a button. There's the button. I think it said see full menu. Yep. And then I think we'll probably need some padding at the bottom of this container. So let's click on here and go section M. Here's 8 rem. Yep. Looks pretty good. Gives you a bit of space there. And then on here, we would obviously have to have the background image of the SVG that we've added earlier to the tabs, which is this one that you can't really see. That's that. That's that button at the bottom, and then we would link that to wherever it needed to go, probably an internal post page, and link it there. Not really relevant right now. So let's check out how this resizes downwards and what we're going to do. Yeah, still looks pretty good at 767. I think at this size, let's go back. Yeah, I think the only thing we need to do there maybe. No, I think I'm happy with that one. This one, I think we need to change the grid. So let's go to the tabs nestable, Tab menu, we don't want that. We want the block, which is the tab menu grid, and we can see it's repeat 2, which is what we want on that. Is that what we want? On the block, tab menu grid is repeat 2. So on the menu card itself, at this size, we want that to be 1 FR. There we go. Instantly, much better. I think that works well there. And how would that look on that one? I think we probably need to go to the block, which is the menu grid, and make that 1 FR at this size. That looks pretty good. The only problem we've got now is the tab buttons at the top. I think what we need to do here is give it a little bit more space in there and maybe make them smaller so we can decrease. So let's click on the content. Click on tab menu, I believe. At this side, we've got a column gap of that. We need a row gap of, let's say, grid gap, which looks pretty good. And then let's wait for this to catch up. The title itself here, tab title, layout, we have 52, 52. I think we need to have space L, space L. Then I think it must be in the content. Let's look at title. Right, here we are. So at this size, we need this to be space M and space M. And I think that about does it. So let's have a look. We have this size. Oh, it's very slow to update. So let's just check this out on the front end. Seems to work pretty well. Let's inspect this and look at it at a smaller size. My recording software seems to put this large space in there. So let's actually just do this by dragging the window. It gets a little tight there. It's not horrendous, but it does get a little tight. So I think we need to change that. So let's go back to the back end. wait for this to load really slowly. I'm using Instawp, and it's normally a lot faster than this, but I think maybe because there's a lot of query loops in this, it might be causing an issue. So I think at this size we need to change the tab menu grid. It's not that one, it's actually the menu card itself, I believe. Yeah, let's look at the menu card. We have it 1FR, 3FR. So let's make that 1FR, 2FR. That makes that all look a little bit better. And on the image wrapper, let's center the image that way around. No, that causes issue with it. It shouldn't if the image itself is set to cover. Object fit cover. Style. Let's not do it at this size. Let's go back to this size. Image. Let's go back, take off what we did. Image at this size is cover. Style. Width 100%. Height 100%. There, that brings that back into shape. That looks a lot better there. That looks, I'm much happier with that. Now let's look at this size. Yes, we cut off the image a bit, but it's actually works a lot better, I think, at that size than it did before. All stays within the thing. I think we are done. Right. Well, I hope you found this useful. Again, I made a fair few mistakes, but hopefully seeing how I work through those mistakes, you can see how you can actually rectify things yourself sometimes. You just need to work through it and figure out where things have gone wrong. Hopefully in the next video, I'll be putting all of these sections that I've built together to do the whole site. If you found this helpful, if you could like and subscribe, that would be brilliant. And see you in the next one.